jump over here to the map view. So to let everybody know, we do have our bands already done. We are going to Dragonshire. You can see the bands. Oh, I gotta fix the name on US Army Esports. My shift key did not function well right for me. What is that? But U.S. Army Esports banning out Cursed Hollow, banned for throwing, then banned out Tomb of the Spider Queen, followed up by the ban by U.S. Army Esports of Alterac Pass, and our final map ban for today is Volskaya Foundry. So a lot of the big maps gone out. I know that I have played a lot of both VF and Tomb this season, so I can understand wanting to switch things up there. Bunker Fun Time in the chat. I think that's Zeddum. And the Sound 51 in chat. Thanks for being here. Oh, we're getting all sorts of people. Hoku, the Division C East analyst, is in the chat too. All right, we are close. It looks like we've got 4 players for USAE, and I just got made a player on that team, so I will be tanking while broadcasting. Oh, they changed that. Now, Crizo and Northern Touch, you are both on Gambit Gaming, which is the number 1 seed, and you will be playing the team of U.S. Army Esports, who is the number 8 seed, next week.
Correct.
So is this free scouting time or just excitement for the division?
I think it's more excitement. I did ask permission from Frack a few days ago to make sure they were okay with Northern and I casting tonight, all in good and fair fun, you know. But I'm more excited to see some really good games.
Well, we do have both teams saying they are ready. I'm going to say casters are ready in here. Oh, they've already hit launch. Because my message did not go. We're going to move to the draft screen here. Oh, here my name for U.S. Army Esports is correct, but on the previous screen it was not. Interesting. That should all be feeding from the same template. Now I do know that there's some power picks on both sides. Shogun, for example, is known for being a bit of a Mephisto player, and is a long-term player in Heroes of the Storm. I would think that the Garrosh ban we just saw there is against Honey Badger, but I don't see Honey Badger in the map.
No, at least not tonight. They're not running with their main tank. It doesn't look like for U.S. Army, and the Garrosh is typically a pretty good ban if you think the other team's going to pick a Varian or that sort of thing.
All right, Johanna, the next ban. The Gray Main is our third ban. Now, for those of you who may not spend as much time in C West as the three of us do, Fracture is very much known for his Gray Main.
Yeah, very much. Greymane, you see a bunch of Sonya from Frack, but the Greymane I think might be their highest, or at least one of their highest win rate DPS.
Well,
and
then how come you weren't banning Arthas against me?
Oh, well, I mean, if we gone back to a different era, maybe. But
we see Stukov. Stukov is a very high priority ban in Division C West, and what's humorous there is when Stukov does make it through, he actually has a lower than 50% win rate on the last stat I saw, but still an extremely high ban percentage overall.
No one wants to play in Silence Puddles.
Yeah, it's pretty vicious. So Anubrak being the first pick, I'm surprised by that. While I don't think that Anubrak's a bad pick, I'm just surprised to see him as the first one. We then had power picks on the part of Rhaegar and Diablo for Ace Boogie, we'll say Boogie, and that one guy on U.S. Army Esports responses with the Vala and the White Mane. The strangest pick so far, or the least meta, if you will, I would say is the White Mane. Definitely a powerful hero and very good at anti-dive. I wonder if they were worried about her being banned. I do know that John Lotz has played a fair amount of white main, but I'm surprised to see her so early.
Definitely, John Lots like to switch up into a bunch of different healers that are not standard meta, but this team has already picked the Vala early, and they can easily switch into a double healer comp here if they want to.
Rexar with Frack and Junkrat. All right.
The Junkrat's gonna make White Main's job a little bit harder.
I gotta see
Definitely.
if I can turn on my camera here to answer. Boom. The drink. Thanks for the hydrate. All right. I think Junkrat is one of the most annoying heroes in the game right now. I think that the final state that he was left in our little neck of the woods is a strange one, but so much disruption, so much control without really having to sacrifice a lot of damage. Now, I had said I thought Whitemane was the, we'll say, spiciest draft pick, but now I would say it's Artanis.
Yeah, the Artanis will be stacking on the Rexar though, so it will be interesting. Like Artanis, I would bet takes stacks in this matchup and see if he grows to a monster by the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get those free stacks on the bear and turn yourself into, like you mentioned, that late game just absolute monster, I think there's some opportunity. But Rexar can both clear and cap the top point of Dragonshire at the same time. As Artanis, you just can't even clear the wave very well.
Yeah, I think like the win condition for Bane for throwing right now is based on how much U.S. Army, and U.S. Army just has like a very good general comp for this map, especially the Junkrat. This might be one of his best maps. Rexar is great at point control, and Silva's great anytime you get push. So it really will come down to the stacks that Ban for throwing gets this game.
So I really like the idea of Junkrat can anchor on the bottom if desired during the laning phase, if you will. You can have Rhaegar off on a camp. You can have Junkrat answering the bottom. So, but Northern Touch, will you go ahead and introduce our blue side here of Ban for throwing?
On the blue side, we have Sodium on Artanis. We have John Lotz on the white main. We have Sheepish Lion playing Anubarak, Daicello playing Azmodan, and Shogun Misa playing Vala.
And Krizo, will you introduce our red team of U.S. Army Esports, which is going to be way trickier for me because I have the camera now.
On the red team, we have Ace Boogie on Diablo, Pro Basket on Sylvanas, that one guy on Rhaegar, Surefire on Junkrat, and Frack on Rexar.
Now talents, you can see talents up at the top with using the Spazzo overlay, but I am going to bring up the larger form here. We do see auto attack from the Vala. We do see shield from Rhaegar, which I think is growing in popularity. Oh, Vala so low, less than 200 health there.
That was almost a disaster. That's
it might be a disaster!
On the rotate, still goes down.
Good work
good
by
job
the
by
Junkrat.
Surefire rotating up and knowing that Shogun Misa was low.
Oh, Sodium getting caught now. We do see those stacks. Artanis already having 16 stacks, which isn't bad by any stretch, but he does go down, so no stacks for a moment. Rhaegar going on a quick camp up top right, and the rotation from Sylvanas and Rexar.
Yeah, it very much looks like U.S. Army Esports is actually doing like a 1-3-1 strategy. They have an anchor top with the Rexar. They have an anchor bottom with the Junkrat, and they're just able to rotate and can actually go and gank the Artanis off lane, gank somebody middle, gank somebody bot. They just can roam together as three all the time.
So we do see the aggressive invade bottom right. The Vala getting in there. Ooh, good jump away from the Junkrat.
And they have to kill the minion over the wall, but had trouble seeing it.
So I don't mind this call though from US Army Esports. They do have in the top lane the Sylvanas is pushing, and the siege camp on Dragonshire is the easiest to defend because of how it lines up there. Yes, you got some chip damage on your bottom fort, but you traded looks like 2 cannon towers and the gate up top, and now Asmodan is up there trying to relieve that pressure. Look at the experience lead that we're seeing here for US Army Esports.
Yeah, it's a lot. And this is not a fight you'd want to take right now, especially having 2 top.
The white main does a good job of keeping people up. That Vala was down to 25% health.
Yeah, if they don't target that white main, they're gonna have a lot of issues later.
Well, the only anti-heal on the side of US Army Esports is Rhaegar with Purge if he takes the level 7. Big fight here bottom there. I'm surprised that Ban for Throwing got so much of that wall early.
And the rotating is 5.
Dove in.
Yeah. But Sheepish Lying staying up for a crazy amount of time.
White main and a Nubarak traded out for Misha. So I do really like this 1-3-1 from US Army Esports. The Sound had talked about it in chat. I'm not good enough with voices. I think it was Northern Touch mentioning it here in our broadcast booth, but US Army Esports seem to have a plan, and they're running with it really well here.
Yeah, this really is an ideal map for a 1-3-1, but Dicello looks like they may be caught, but gets out.
Shogun is just going ham with the Vala stacks right there, though. Oh, both Ace Boogie, and Pro Basket getting very low. So great positioning by Shogun, using that wall as cover. US Army Esports, the camp is getting cleared somewhat for free at this point. Up top, we do see that Frack has the top point, and uses that to be able to get the clear. Now Artanis is up there dueling with him. Back in the bottom, the wave pushing in. Sylvanas going towards the mid for US. Yes, Snow Glare. A dead white main is 100% anti-heal. That is true. But you still
yeah, I
gotta
think I
get
would like to see them rotating a lot more mid for the blue side, just so that you get your Asmo stacked a little bit quicker, and it's not like Artanis is going to be able to soak as fast as the Rex are.
Oh, the Vala got swapped. I think white main has too much mana for this Vala to die, but she was watching the Vala and the Anubarak goes down instead. Artanis not going to have enough time to cap it. It was a good thought by Sodium. Now 10's almost online for the side of US Army Esports.
Yeah, and 10s are going to be a pretty big difference for both teams here, but I think Red's 10s might be a little bit better.
Wailing Arrow, APOC, Ancestral Healing, Riptire, and Unleash the Boars. Alright, I'm going to criticize US Army a little bit here. I don't love this camp take. You're up 10s, go and smash some faces.
Especially with Sylvanas.
So Bunker Fun Time, Ban for Throwing about to get 10s. We see the APOC combo, Vala barely able to get away. And Dragon Knight capped by Rhaegar, actually.
So the APOC basically bought them enough time to capture middle. It's an interesting trade.
Oh, we do see the Divine Reckoning hitting. Oh, Diablo might be going down for this. He did pop the Soul Shield there, I believe. Yes. Oh, no, I would see it. Oh, so the red team getting chunked down here. They don't have a healer, so it is tough to to fight there. Oh, rather low health on the Vala, sub 300, but with those 2 kills and no healer to help bring the team back, I do think that this Dragon Knight is going to just have to wither away based on time.
Oh, for sure.
With the stacking heroes that BFT has, I don't hate them just giving this first one to stack off of, you know?
The Artanis stacks have slowed down, but it looks like the Vala doing decently well. She's about halfway on the, or no, excuse me, a third of the way on the full quest there.
Yeah, based on the comp that the blue team has, they need to extend this game as long as possible. So their objective really needs to be just lose as few buildings as you possibly can, and take smart fights. Because the longer this game goes, the better their comp gets with stacks.
Oh man, the white man got caught out there by the Misha charge, and just the combos coming out, including Wailing Arrow. APOC on the Asmo, he's now down. Web Wrap with the Cocoon on the Junkrat, and a pause from Shogun. Alright, we are going to come back to webcam solo right now. I personally, we are seeing that white main disconnected, and that was where we got the kill. So I don't like to show the map during pauses, so y'all have to deal with my mug here on camera. My co-casters have both said that they are without camera tonight, which is okay. But we're seeing some big stacks in a lot of cases. Asmodan is almost to that 200 mark, which marks the level 1 quest completion. But there you do, of course, go up to 400 on the globe stacks for his quest, giving him the full thing there. Bankai, I apologize. I'm going to have to refund your burpees because I don't want to ruin my suit trying to do them. All right, it does look like we are coming back here. They are counting down. Here we go. Camp take on the top right for USAE, so that is pushing in top. With a dead healer, they are now invading bottom left.
Yeah, I think again, like you said, at 10, you probably want to take this advantage and start sieging with the Sylve right away here instead of camp take, but they're going to be able to do a bit of both right now.
Yeah, the camp is almost just a delay tactic in this case. It gets banned for throwing to hit the camp instead of hit you, but I think that overall you had to do that same amount of damage to the camp that you could have done to the fort. Black Arrows is on cooldown, so but it's just a few seconds away and they'll be re-engaging here, I would hope. 13s have been claimed on the side of ban for throwing, so maybe they're being a little more careful. I would have liked them to have pushed a bit with that spell armor camp, but they're taking another camp. I imagine they're getting ready to clean the top camp. Asmodan finishing that level 1 quest, 204 stacks so far. We haven't seen Vala get a lot of stacks in the last little bit.
No, but she's slowly getting them.
And they're rotating as 5 here, so they're going to look for something. Probably Artanis swap.
Yeah, and I think level 16 is still going to be a great power spike for Vala, and then level 20 also. Shogun dodging away using the vault. But right now this 4v5 is extending the experience lead for the side of US Army Esports. You can see the experience there on the screen. Ooh, big engage here. I don't love the engage actually, just with the almost 16s, but we see ults going out on all sides. We see the Divine Reckoning. We saw the Ray of Light, whatever that one's called, from the Protoss ship. The Not Blind. and the fight goes inside, or in the side of U.S. Army Esports. They have hit 16 now that the fight is over, but we saw every single ult is on cooldown. We saw every single ult in that fight. But right before that fight, my chat said that Crizzo and Northern Touch should do the burpees tonight since I am wearing my suit.
I'm a little too pretty for all that.
I've been doing them the whole time, so.
Purifier beam, that's what the beam of light from that evil Protoss ship is called. Ooh, vault in by the Vala directly into the punt. As a fan of baseball, I would see that that was, Vala going extra distance by bringing in that extra momentum.
Interesting, they're prioritizing the middle and top lanes. This map is very known for the bottom lane being the most important one just because of all the camps that are there.
Yep, I agree. That's true. They have put the healer in the Dragon Knight both times. I think that this time they had more opportunity to choose than the first time also. Ooh, Sheepish Lion warding the bush, but oh, why am I still on experience soaked? We're almost level 20. No one's going to care about experience at that point. Ooh, web wrap on the Junkrat. Big dive by the Anubarak. Spear of Adun with the Purifier beam coming out. The Ancestral goes on the Misha, but does not land, so Misha dies, but that's a full cooldown for Rhaegar. U.S. Army in full retreat.
Oh, great swap.
Fantastic swap. Max range on that. Big dunk. The level 16 for Asmodan does mean that he's hitting for percent damage with his Globes of Annihilation as well. Oh, Misha's getting swapped again. Oh, the big dive onto the Sylvanas. She does go down from the combo and the damage there. Artanis is loving these stacks. Asmodan does go down. Misha took a big charge, but now she's in. That's another set of stacks for the Artanis. Anubarak very low, sub 1000, getting hit over and over again. The Vala just plunking away on that Diablo. Finally, the Artanis goes down. Vala goes under the fort. She did take two shots. Release the Boars.
Can Boogie get an APOC combo here? Oh.
No, APOC's down.
Or at least a regular combo, yeah.
That was
with the wrap out.
Clutch wrap, yeah.
Great cocoon there.
So Blue just stayed a bit too long when Whitemane had no mana. That fight went on for a long time and Whitemane got drained.
So right now we've seen that the damage for Vala is starting to spike. You can see that on the screen there for anybody watching the broadcast, but Vala is now 20,000 hero damage ahead of the next person, who is Asmodan.
This is an interesting mechanic with a Nubarak. If you play tank, you can just put down beetles and minions are going to attack it and you save your fort for free.
Almost a full beetle build. They did not go the beetle summons at 16, Epicenter being a very strong choice. U.S. Army Esports does hold top and bottom shrine. Junkrat is in a little bit of trouble down here. Oh, I don't know that he gets away from the Artanis. Purifier beam lands. He makes it out just a little bit. Coming back, Misha charge onto the Anubarak. The big silence from the Sylvanas, and the Divine Reckoning sent out in hopes of saving the Anubarak, but all of U.S. Army was able to just back up from that.
Now with 20, you'd expect them to at least get DK or a keep here. It's really their choice of what they prioritize.
Oh, that big dunk. I've got to think Asmodan is going bigger, better dunks at 20 at this point. All right, we do see Surefire capping the bottom. Diablo was in place to cap. U.S. Army Esports opting for the bottom camp to increase the pressure on that bottom fort. And we see Frack moving towards the center position for that Dragon Knight capture. And will it be Frack? It will be Frack going in. The bottom fort just did go down to the combined efforts of Junkrat, Diablo, and a couple Siege Giants. Sylvanas here ready to push with black arrows. Dragon Knight marching towards the center keep. The bottom keep wall is under fire from the entire remaining forces of US Army. Esports, that is.
Even with the Asmo 20, it actually seems pretty easy for the Rhaegar to heal up the team. This is just such a good AoE healer.
Purifier Beam coming out on the Sylv. The swap hits the Diablo. Ooh, Diablo gets a flip onto the Artanis, and the 5-man defense bottom is leaving mid-keep to just go down. A couple more hits from the DK. One more. Oh, doesn't quite get it. The DK does go down. Oh, big
It's at
rip
139 health.
Oh, I would have liked
them
it
to go down.
That's because they moved the rip tire back to hit a hero. This is big ancestral, but it's also everybody standing in the white main ult. But even so, 4 members of Ban for Throwing go down, and the keep finally goes down. Asmodan is the last to fall. This is GG. It's going to be very difficult. Any suggestions for graphic settings for seeing the fire of the DK better? Ooh, I don't know. But that is the end of game 1. Well played. The verge of 20s for Ban for Throwing. I would have liked them to have sat back a little bit farther and just wait for that 20s.
Yeah, I think after they saved that mid keep, they could even let them come in and poke it. Like that thing was gonna go anyway, and they were so close. Like they were, I don't know, even 10 seconds of trickle XP away from hitting 20, and then could have started to take that fight. But yeah, just some difficult timing, I guess.
All right, we're gonna come to the summary here. We can see Vala was the queen of damage here. Leading both hero damage and structure damage for her team. We do see Rexar leading the overall structure damage, but he was in that late DK and just able to pound on that center keep and get quite a bit of damage there. So I imagine if we had a graph of it, we would see quite the spike at that point. Overall, number of deaths on the side of US Army Esports, very low, and I realize this might sound obvious, but the number one stat that determines whether or not you win the game in Heroes of the Storm is actually time spent dead. The more time that you spend dead in a match, the lower chance you have of winning. And that comes from some old machine learning and analysis by Ghostdunk, but sometimes even if you think you might get a kill, just not dying could win you the game. If you can back up. And so we talked about it at 10, we talked about it at 13, that we really wanted to see US Army Esports push that advantage, but I think that maybe they hurt us by the time level 20 came around, or that was just their plan all along, because 20's hit and they went full aggro at that point.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot to complain about in terms of Red Team's team fight or their rotations or that sort of thing at all. I think all they needed to do to end that game a little bit faster would have been just to prioritize buildings instead of camps. But otherwise, there's a very clean game from the U.S. Army.
All right, we do have the lobby up, but we're going to show the talents here for just a moment, and then we can jump into that lobby. I didn't see anything that really stood out as odd to me in that. I think that, maybe you switch the Asmo 7 if you really do want to lean into that Tide of Sin globes, but Asmo was stacking extremely well, so I don't know that that was necessary. I really liked the Hellgate from Diablo. We saw that aggression. If you're going to take Wailing Arrow, I don't think you want Deafening Blast in most cases, so the Bolt of the Storm for Sylv being powerful. I liked the double Rhaegar Ancestral. We saw that come into play on that last fight. Cannonball versus Extra Oomph on Riptire. I think that's kind of dealer's choice. And the attack speed Frenzy of Kalimdor, or I suppose it's not attack speed, but attack damage and slows. Not often when we see if somebody goes with Boars, they often will do the upgrade to Boars. But well played by both teams. I'm going to exit this and get us into the next lobby here. And I need to update that here on the controller. The lobby, I don't actually know who picked it at this point, but it is going to be Towers of Doom. Okay, it looks like Team 1 has first pick, which means Team 2, US Army Esports, also picked this map. Very good game, again, by both teams. Happy with the performance. You know, there's got to be a winner. In this case, it was USAE, but I think they earned it through a well-fought and well-disciplined play. I really liked their rotations. I thought it felt like they had a plan all game.
Yeah, I agree with that. They were definitely doing, like, you could obviously see they were doing a 1-3-1 strategy if you've have done some research into what works on that map, and they pulled it off, and especially works well against a team that doesn't have a lot of wave clear, at least to start. So it was easy for them to take camps on their side and to get the top lane pushed and the bottom lane pushed, and it was I think that Ban for Throwing's chances, like I said at the start of the game, were going to be based on stacks and based on taking smart fights, but they didn't get enough of them by the end of the game.
Yeah, I think that if they could have got that 20 with the Vala can be so impactful with Farflight arrows and Manticore. It sucks to be a frontliner, and she can eat Diablo alive. Okay, Krizo, it looks like you're playing for the side of US Army Esports right now.
I am. Let's go.
So
I'm ready.
I think they are actually missing Surefire at this point. But I know in my match against US Army Esports, they also took us to Towers of Doom, and they, I would say, win a very team fight oriented comp, and they had us on the ropes, and we were able to turn it on them with a couple of team fights that then went our way. But it was a tough one for sure. Mighty competitors.
Based on their history, it looks like they definitely like a team fight oriented comp, and this is one of their favorite maps for sure. I think they've played it or picked it 4 or 5 times this season. So yeah, it's a good map for them, and I would expect to see some sort of blow up, especially if they get a gray main for some reason.
My 4-year-old has requested the opportunity to come be part of the broadcast as well. Come here, kiddo. Here, no, you come sit on my lap. All right. This is the camera right there. You're gonna see, you can wave to everybody out there in cyberspace. Good job. All right, going back to the draft screen here. Actually, we're gonna go here. All right, we now have Surefire. I'm gonna let them know we are ready. Oh, and I got the warning from my headset that I needed to plug back in. Yeah, I don't know that I've actually seen Bunker Funtime play this map this season. I try to catch...
Banned for throwing.
Yeah, sorry. Banned for throwing. Part of the Bunker Funtime group.
So I know that they have played it this season. It's just their comp so far rely on like Lucio Vala, and they've done triple frontline on this map once before. But this team can pull out anything. They can double heal. Like you saw in Asbo last game. Like you could see Hammer. Like there's so many different options on what these guys play in terms of comps.
Yeah, they're extremely hard to scout for sure.
Let's see. So we see the Garrosh ban again. So they have played Towers twice this season, according to Hero's profile. But pretty even across their maps. I wonder, I don't know that Heroes Profile has all the games on this page that I'm on.
Same bands early on, it looks like.
Yeah, no, Heroes Profile's missing. There's 21 games and it only has 13 of them. So I don't know what might have happened there. Exact same bands to a T so far. If there was something that stood out in game 1 that you would have banned in game 2, what would it be?
I mean,
Junkrat.
I don't think it works well for this map or as well, but the Junkrat was definitely a problem.
Dahaka Anduin. So we are seeing a little bit of draft variation. The Vala being the early pick.
Now, I don't remember, but does U.S. Army Esports play Genji? Because this is a good Genji map and great with Anduin.
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I would have to look it up. Leoric and Tyrande. Tyrande, we said this last time about the healer choice on Bunker Fun Time, but I think Tyrande you can often pick up late. While I'm not expecting U.S. Army Esports to play Mei at this point to try to blind her, I think that Tyrande is a very powerful hero for sure. I think the kill potential with the Lunar Flare and also the Hunter's Mark really can up the ante. She has a lot of sustain healing in the right scenario. So,
And banning the stitches kind of indicates that that ban for throwing is going for some sort of double healer comp, I would imagine. They still
Or
need,
potentially the Mephisto.
yes. So you could see that here if Shogun swaps off of Vala to Mephisto.
see,
But
I don't know that they have another person that would play the Vala if they did that.
oh,
Deathwing.
Oh, spicy. I like it.
So here's my problem for poor old Deathwing. Hanzo can
Hanzo's a lot
shoot
of
you
poke. Yeah.
from so far away, and Deathwing only has a single. Well, I suppose he has two. He has two ways to close the distance, but one of them is burning his ult.
This seems like a scenario where you're gonna play like 1-1-3 with Deathwing at mid, I would guess, but you never know. Deathwing, in general, is going to get shredded by Tychus or Hanzo. I guess it just depends on how the timing with Varian going in, because Varian is literally one of the hardest to blow up tanks in the game. So whoever they decide to unload on, if it's Varian, they're going to be in good shape. If it's Deathwing, that's going to be a bit rough.
Yeah, as a tank player, I like playing Varian into Tychus. Hanzo is tougher to get to just because he can stay back so far. And I think it was wise for U.S. Army Esports to pick up the Hanzo and Diablo together. Diablo kind of being one of the heroes that can answer the Hanzo. We are seeing in draft or in chat, excuse me, the the combo of Zool rules and the Sound 51 both like the Hanzo comp better.
Yeah, it's definitely a more traditional comp. I think this is one of the scenarios too where if you're Diablo, you have to try to figure out what ult you're going to be playing.
So
At
real
least early
quick to
on.
introduce our two sides, we do have Sodium shaking his groove thing on the Deathwing, John Lotz on the Tyrande, Dicello on the Leoric, Sheepus Lion on the Varian, and Shogun Misa on the Vala. For the side of U.S. Army Esports, we have Shorefire on the Tychus, ProBasket on the Hanzo, that one guy as the Varian, Fracture is there on the Dahaka, and finally Ace Boogie on the Diablo. I was thinking I had one more chance to zoom out, but I am at maximum zoom. We see the Hanzo is appearing to be AFK. Alright, he's moving now. Four-man rotation moving bottom. I like the use of ranged Deathwing for the delays and the stuns here. It means that now bunker banned for throwing. They're gonna go back at this and decide that I'm not allowed to be a caster. The ban for throwing.
Shogun is in deep trouble.
Oh, he's down. That was a great engage from the Diablo, locking him in and just letting the Tychus go to work.
Unfortunately, their blue team's options for peel isn't that much except for the Deathwing. So the Deathwing actually has to hit his stun in order to peel off a bunch of anything. The Varian can do it, but it's not going to work very well against a Diablo.
So an invade here on the bottom left camp. Ooh, Diablo gets a hold of the Tyrande. Hanzo and Vala both step onto the point. Hanzo's able to get just a little bit more burst. Now the Deathwing is on the point. Tyrande goes down. Oh, Diablo dove off the point. Dicello able to get the capture there, but with multiple kills, I think USAE is okay with that trade-off.
It's been a lot of camp invades this series so far.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm curious to see what happens once Taunt's online.
Yes, very much so. I mean, the Deathwing follow-up is actually pretty good into a taunt.
Gives you that time to have the stun land. So US Army Esports opting to get their camp rather than clear out the camp. Ooh, the root. The root still landed on the Vala. We do see a couple of those sapper minions crashing on the wall. I would have liked to have seen more clear there, just because you can...
Oh! The 2-inch
Vala's
charge.
Fire.
Yep.
So Vala not getting as many stacks this game, and we have seen her die, let's see, twice now.
I wish I was better at Deathwing macro, but is this an instance where you put Deathwing in the air just to stall?
You can't yet. Deathwing doesn't get his stall until 7.
Ah, damn.
But Deathwing does have nigh infinite stall with the level 7 talent of Skyfall. Hanzo is in the top lane working on the destruction of Leoric.
That great taunt.
There it is. Just give it a little more time.
The red team invaded on Leo, and he goes down top. You back up quickly, but it does give them over 2 shots.
Ooh, big taunt, followed with the stun. We got the fire breath.
I mean, once taunt got online, that's a lot of damage so far in every person taunted.
Well, so what I want to see for the combo is I want to see taunt into Lunar Flare with Hunter's Mark. Just have the Deathwing start his fire breath. Don't even worry about the Deathwing follow-up as far as crowd control. If you can get enough damage in, that person either dies or has to retreat, and taunt is a low enough cooldown, and fire breath is a low enough cooldown that you can then get that. Molten Flame is the official name of fire breath.
That's not a invade that the red team would want there for sure, with the healer going back, and the healer's actually soaking mid.
Yeah, I don't love that part, but sometimes it do be like that.
However, that is definitely going to give Dahaka a priority
to
come down here for a pick. Just there's a lot of siege damage so far coming out from Bane for throwing. Entire wall down, still got pumpkins up. There's the taunt
on the Diablo. See the Lunar Flare and the Molten Flame there. All 3 of those sappers get to land.
Wow. And there's the early prio from Dahaka. Gets down there first, looking for tongue, but misses. Gotta say, Sodium is doing pretty well aiming the flame breath down these corridors here. It's catching a lot of the red team.
Hanzo so low. Now the
32
Dahaka's
health.
extremely low.
Dahaka was 200 health.
Looks like focus was split a little bit on that one.
Oh, Shogun gets pulled in
Oh,
with the
I think that was a
grenade.
Tychus grenade, yeah.
Yeah.
Deathwing ults out. Leoric just getting chunked by the Tychus. The Haka was able to cap the top shrine. This was a 2, right? Or was it just this one? Oh no, it had to be because we already have 8 shots off with both team.
Yeah.
So we can see the Skyfall now. They were not
And
quite spread out enough. I actually don't think they're spread out enough here. Oh, just misses the Anduin, but Anduin... Ooh.
that's with the 10s up. Oh, Anduin takes the bubble.
Interesting choice.
Well, I think that taking the salvation is just fine. I think they just needed to wait to see what Vala took, because
yeah.
you do still have potentially all 5 enemy heroes that can interrupt salvation.
Yeah, like Lunar can do it naturally. Deathwing can do it naturally. You got Vala can talent into a stun. So
Frak goes down there in the middle. And I think you meant Lunar Flare
Yes.
for Tyrande.
Yep.
Starfall going out. The camp is already taken, so now they're just playing for kills. We do see the Odin in the way back. Oh, Tychus gets super close. Varian getting a bit chunked there between the...
There's not a lot of sustain for the blue team.
Oh, Dahaka digs in, gets a lick on the Varian. Varian unfortunately gets... Oh, he still gets caught though. I was going to say he gets bumped away.
Oh, the Dahaka just burrows with like no health left.
Was able to get just enough time for his regeneration to kick in, and just enough of the Dark Swarm damage to take out the Tyrande there.
That was an instance where they were kill up, so it was a 5v4, but Leoric left to try to even lanes and became a 4v4. So
Deathwing just got ripped apart with that minigun from Tychus.
yep.
So the invade does give US Army Esports that front wall. Oh, Varian going in aggressive. We do see the strafe again from the Vala. She does have that beefy triple front line to be able to hide behind, so I'm hoping that that really ends up getting her quite a bit. But strafe is a feast or famine type of talent. Oh, I think they could have finished that. Different ult this time from the Diablo, going with the lightning breath.
And there's the stall from the Deathwing.
And Deathwing's landed. I do not like this land. I am worried for Deathwing. His team comes in to save him. Oh, big breath.
Oh, there it is.
I love this
There's the
land.
easy bake oven.
Let's go.
The easy bake oven does great. We do see the fear coming out from the Deathwing there. Anduin goes down. We see Vala strafing. I'm telling you, this strafe at level 20 though, man, that could be great. I don't like that she...
Vala vaults in.
Yeah, I think that may have been a misclick. I think if it wasn't that Shogun was just a little too sure of his abilities. Oh, Tychus. Tychus is going down.
Oh!
It's a bloodbath.
Everybody's dead!
If you're blue team right now, you'll take it.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think they can cap, but they'll take the kills for sure. Even up on the experience. Oh, the Deathwing delay makes it.
They have infinite stall here with the Deathwing and
Oh, they don't anymore. They've used too many clicks. Close. If the Leoric could have landed something.
Oh, the
easy bake oven. Oh, it could have been. Boom. Wow. See that? The flame.
Whose
molten
fire
flame
breath
with
is bigger?
The molten flame with the lunar flare and the taunt. Too much damage even for a Diablo. Now Diablo is reset on souls, but a quick respawn there. Oh, the Vala's not here. Their primary damage is missing. Shadow charge. Ooh. That flip on the Varian likely saved more damage. And it looked like Anduin started the cast for...
Yeah, definitely did, yeah.
And got
on
taunted
cooldown.
by his dad.
And this is the part that's going to get a little bit sketchy here. I don't think the red team wants to fight anymore for the next little while, but they are continuing to step up.
Well, and they've now given the experience lead back over to Bunker Ban for throwing. Man, I should just say acronyms at this point. And so that Vala is getting closer and closer to stacks. Manticore is now online, so that will spell just absolute doom for poor Diablo. Ooh, big.
Oh, and anybody can die.
That Hanzo was close. So very even on core shots, 28 to 24. Ban for throwing in the lead. They are trying to escort these sappers in. I don't know that the sappers make it. Oh, Tychus getting very low. We see the lunar flare hit the Diablo. We do have one pumpkin sapper that makes it in. Tychus even committed the Odin there. Deathwing headed to the skies. Dahaka digs behind. Frak getting quite low. Entomb.
Oh, Varian eats the arrow.
Right, that arrow would have been deadly, but Varian ate it way forward. We do see the Salvation coming out again. The Tyrande did fall. Deathwing pieces out. I don't know that Varian gets out. Vala dies to the Diablo. Slightly off my screen. Sorry, I'm not a great caster, it seems. Oh, Varian dies to the damage on Melting Point from the grenade, doing that extra damage. Diablo gets the cap. 23 to 25 on tower shots now.
Looks like they're going to prioritize taking bot right back instead of the boss, which is, I think, is a good call here.
I feel like the boss would be a poor choice. The boss is kind of a bait. I think that you get more done by sieging. So I would like to see them, even like this camp, I would rather them have cleared this wave and even sieged onto the bottom fort and then come back for the camp. I don't know that the camp gets to bottom fort before it gets met by resistance from Ban for throwing.
Oh, definitely not. So, oh, Shogun vaults in. Gets
Using
charged.
the strafe.
But this is a 4v3 down here right now.
It's about to be a 5v5. We can see reinforcements rushing in on both sides. I think the taunt is down for just a few more seconds. Frak trying to use those bushes to his advantage, and everybody gets out.
Sodium really needs some health right here. I'm guessing that he doesn't have his tap.
Alright. Triple altar phase coming up. Ban for throwing, getting the bottom left camp going in their favor, using the Varian banner to ward. Dahaka invading top left, 4v4, oh, 4v3, the Deathwing still in the sky. Ooh, the Vala is so incredibly low. We do see the Salvation committed, but everyone jumps out of it
John
anyway.
Lotz is in deep trouble here. Varian landed top right.
Oh, the Flame Stomp return finishing off the Varian there. Deathwing just comes in scorching. He does eat the arrow. I don't know if that was intended for Deathwing or trying to get a little fancy and kill the Diablo. Oh,
Entomb, what Entomb?
That pull, he was ready. Now we do see the double pull from Anduin.
Oh, look at that damage.
The conflagration still popping from onto the Diablo. The shots here super equal still, only 2 points separating these. Frack is backing. I assume he has Brush Stalker. Yes, he does, looking up at the top of the screen. Leoric goes down. Diablo taking a lot. He is popping with the conflagration, as is Hanzo, but the Vala goes down to the Dahaka, and this one is going over to the side of US Army Esports. So 17-19 now in favor of US Army Esports, and they're going for the boss with 2 members down, Vala and Leoric. Seems pretty open.
Definitely. They've got some time to maybe look at a fort here if they really wanted to too, but they're all pretty low.
Yeah, that's actually one reason that the boss scares me a little bit, is the boss on Towers of Doom, not a super well-known fact, but the boss does percentage damage. And so sitting in there on a low health chunky boy is pretty dangerous.
Definitely. I've been part of a bunch of team wipes on the boss on this map. So some that were positive for us, some that were negative.
20s on the side of US Army Esports. We do see play of the game. We see the stun on Anduin's root. We see another Hellgate pickup. This is Essence Claws, so basic attacks slow and against heroes give more essence. And I really love this talent from Tychus, and that is can do this all day. I don't think it's the best talent in the world. I just love it. Alright, 4v4. Leoric's coming down. Big arrow. Oh, the Silence and Tomb on the flank. Diablo's dead. Anduin's dead. The Haka's pretty low. The Vala gets out with double-digit health. And the Tychus is going down next. He has too much distance to cover. Pro Basket just needs to get out of there.
And now they're pinging the bot right fort, so they're going to do that first.
I think that's smart. Take it from what would have been another 2-point game to now a 1-point game.
If you're red, you do not want to step up at all here.
Yeah, there's too much at risk. You just have to give the fort. Yeah, fantastic Silence and Tomb by Dicello there. Great work. Fantastic map presence. Way to be the offlane hero.
I like a good spicy comeback, and this is definitely the map to do it.
You're getting a little bit of chip into top. The members of Banned for Throwing sieging into mid and getting that great taunt onto the Hanzo. Vala is the infinite strafe, so we'll see if that comes into play here. Lightning Breath versus Molten Flame. I can't remember the name of the upgrade to Lightning Breath that makes it last 200% longer, but Diablo didn't take it. Oh, another Silence and Tomb, another pull. Oh, the
death.
This could be a 6-cap here.
Yeah, mid fort is going down rather quickly, and top fort is only about half health.
I'd like to see Blue send Deathwing or Leo Bot just to help defend a little bit, because it's obvious where red team is going to go, and red team's missing their actual damage for this fort.
Yeah, Deathwing
there
landing.
You see the Deathwing. And this is one of those instances where you want the other team to hit you if you're blue under your own fort, just so they get targeted.
Alright, so they did get 3 shots in there, so now Banned for Throwing ahead by 2 shots, and they are going for the camp here right as the double altar phase is spawning. Banned for Throwing can win based on just double capping. Now, Fracture does sneak behind for the cap, but he is not going to get it. I think that would have been better served if he had gone to the bottom one. But Fracture zooming around. We do see the taunt onto the Diablo. The Starfall going out as well. Lightning Breath on the Varian. Varian super low, getting those heals from Tyrande just in time. Tychus the first to fall. Varian just standing in there, chunky boy. The Dahaka is the next one to go down. And this looks like it is going to be a win in favor of Ban for Throwing. It's tough to come back when these two will finish the game for U.S. Army.
What a game.
Yeah, crazy game.
I love it.
The battle of the breaths. The Deathwing comes on top.
And that is game. We got both
GG.
altars channeled.
Yeah, they had a great entomb on the right side though, but Deathwing was like inches back and wasn't able to confirm that kill, and that allowed the red team to stay in it. But the Varian just lived forever, and all the damage was going into Varian. And
Oh, I thought it was amazing how long Sheepish Lion stayed up there.
I mean, you never want to run a blow up comp into a Varian typically, unless you have a lot of displacement. The Varian is going to live every one of those.
So, despite the initial calls that US Army Esports had the stronger draft, we see the win go over to Ban for Throwing. Man. I've got the stat screen up here. Vala having 110 on the hero damage, so another big game for Shogun Misa there. The Deathwing actually never died and had 99,000 hero damage.
I mean, the Deathwing was part of every part of that map. He was stalling effectively, falling up on taunts, clearing the wave, basically landing exactly where they were supposed to every single time. So it was some great Deathwing play that game for sure.
Yeah, very different story as far as kills and deaths this game versus last. And so very even, 18 to 20, but it really felt like the late game coming online for Ban for Throwing just paid off between the Silence and Tomb, between Molten Flame lasting longer, having the conflagration pops, the long-term strafes from Vala, Varian just being an absolute beast between Victory Rush and Shield Wall. So well played, and we're going to round 3. Oh, I did not mean to exit out of that yet. Oh, we do have the next map.
Infernal Shrines.
Surprising that we would see this map. It's almost never played.
Yeah, I've never seen this map.
So, I realize there's a certain prolific caster and board member that likes to tease teams for playing on this map, but there's a reason why McDonald's sells so many sandwiches and burgers, and there's a reason why people play Infernal Shrines, and that is they're just used to it, right? It may not always be the best, but it's consistent. You know you can get a Big Mac anywhere in the world, and it's the same Big Mac everywhere. It's not going to make you happy. In fact, it's probably going to do damage to your internal organs. But it's the same everywhere. And Infernal Shrines kind of has that feeling when it comes to Heroes of the Storm. Not everybody is ready for the early game maps like Braxis Holdout and Sky Temple that get very steamrolly. Not everyone wants the late game maps of Alterac Pass and Towers of Doom. And so then in the middle is something like Infernal Shrines.
I think Infernal is definitely like a well-balanced map. So there's a bunch of different comps, a bunch of different strategies that work well on the map. I think the objective is pretty well balanced in terms of the power it gives you and the amount of effort it takes to take it down. Yeah, there's a reason for it, and I just like having all the options of a map that actually has camps, has a strong objective. But if you want to, you can do side push. You can do all sorts of different strategies. So I'd say this is a map where a lot of characters are pretty high in terms of their power level.
So interesting here. It is once again banned for throwing that has first pick, which means that all 3 games U.S. Army Esports has chosen the map, and all 3 games Bunker Fun Time is first pick. And given the option, it seems that Bunker Fun Time wants first pick and U.S. Army wants map pick, so these 2 teams are perfectly matched in that regard.
Yeah, I think out of the 2 teams, Bane for Throwing would be a ideal first pick team because they like surprising other teams with their draft, right? They play some unconventional stuff, and if you can surprise them before the other team can get a counter out, that's great for you. If you're comfortable in playing most maps, then yeah, it's a great strategy.
I staring at my overlay here, it's not graying the stuff out down at the bottom, so I don't know how to do that, folks. I am not that cool. Thanks, buddy. My son screaming from the other room. You're plenty cool, Dad. So
You got
thanks.
one supporter.
Thanks, little Valk.
And you know what's really good on this map is Mephisto.
Oh, I
And
was gonna
you have
say
a
Juice
Mephisto lane.
Pirates.
that would be something.
Get
to see.
out.
Sure, yeah.
I'm leaving right now.
All right, we have a bio break called for ban for throwing here. But it actually is a very good Juice Pirates map, so let me tell you why. And that is the objective itself takes a little bit of time, and so you can evaluate whether or not you want to go to the objective or if you want to Juice Pirates. And a lot of times you can get a team to waste their objective because they are so worried about Juice Pirates. So if anybody is playing against Krizo and wants some Juice Pirates tips, I will happily go into depth with them.
You know, I thought we were friends.
We are friends.
But apparently not.
I had a Juice Pirates pulled out on me on our division finals. It was like one of our last games, and we ended up sniffing it out right away because they first picked Tyrael. But there's definitely different versions of Juice Pirates now, with a Medivh version of Juice Pirates without the medic and all sorts I've seen. So
Valk would pull out some weird Juice Pirate with Cho'Gall. I feel it already.
Ooh. So once upon a time in unranked draft on Blackheart's Bay, we randomed into Cool Cats and Kittens, and we had somebody who was not super familiar with Juice Pirates because we were just an unranked draft. That shows you how long ago this was. They chose Stimdrone, and so we were now, instead of flying to the structures, we called ourselves the door-to-door pirates.
I like it.
So
you can play that one against us.
Well, so people don't often talk about this, but Juice Pirates is actually a pretty good team fight comp because there's people rarely dive the Morales, and she just has so much healing. And if you're playing the traditional version of Raynor, Gul'dan, Artanis, Tyrael, Morales, you have Raynor has his own sustain. You have shields on both Tyrael and Artanis. You have Gul'dan has his own sustain, and you have the armor provided by Morales, and so it just becomes this war of attrition if you're on even levels. The problem is that teams often get behind because they're smork at buildings. So we do have a ready from U.S. Army Esports up, and we're going into the draft.
I'm excited for this game 3.
I
I
hope
want
it's
some more
Juice
spice.
Pirates. What's spicier than Juice Pirates?
I don't know. BFT can throw out some wild and crazy comps.
So our first game against BFT, they ran Hammer. We did not run Juice Pirates, but we did run a very push-oriented comp, and we ended during them capping the Triglov. Because we're like, fine, you can siege with Hammer, we're just gonna siege faster. Alright, so our bans have been shaken up. Instead of Greymane being the second ban, he's the first ban. And instead of Stukov being the second ban, he's the first ban. Oh, I'm on the wrong one here.
We're already getting spicy here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I like it.
I'm hoping that they ban Johanna and then USAE bans Garrosh just to shake things up.
I say let the Garrosh. Yeah, let the Garrosh through. Take something else out.
Not traditionally a great Garrosh map, so.
Right.
Excuse me?
I mean, if you're gonna stand on minions with Garrosh, that's one way to play it. But
He can't throw the Shrine Defenders.
I don't know, man. I've not seen many good Garrosh games played on this map.
Yeah, Garrosh can't throw the Shrine Defenders, which means he has a field day inside the pit because people think he can throw the Shrine Defenders and then he throws them.
And they, if the Garrosh is coming, then they banned one of the decent counters to it, which is Joe, which is interesting. Cello plays Leoric. Dicello played a great Leoric last game.
Oh, that big flank there by the middle altar was a huge swing for ban for throwing. I also don't think Johanna's a Garrosh counter.
What?
I like
Well, that's definitely a Garrosh counter.
Yes, you have to be very particular with your unstoppable to prevent the cocoon. Otherwise, you're just cocooned and your team gets dove.
Yeah, and Anubrak has all the slows and stuns, and it's rough time.
The beetles to dismount.
This looks like very much of a blow-up comp right now for ban for throwing.
Do we see the Deathwing again?
I mean, you definitely could. They're running back a very similar comp, so.
Yep.
If I'm U.S. Army Esports, I play with some additional save other than Anduin. It could be Falstad, it could be Blaze.
I play an Anduin with Light Bomb.
My concern for U.S. Army right now is I've seen them before play a lot of like triple frontline, and if they play triple frontline and leave a Mephisto up, that's going to be very rough on this map. Especially banning the It's not his best map, but he's got the Gorge and
they took the Anub.
Yep.
Yeah. The only reason that I would say to ban Stitches if you have a noob is if you are bringing out the Mephisto.
So a triple frontline from USC would not be the best right here. It's a Garrosh.
I think I want to see the Deathwing and a Mephisto from BFT.
Oh, the Easy Bake Oven with Lightning Nova.
Let's go.
Disgusting. Yep. Oh, the scores. I didn't have the scores up. I need to move ban for throwing's name over.
I mean, U.S. Army's looking for basically a Garrosh throw in to blow up with Anduin Stun and Tychus and Vala. But there's Artanis and Mephisto, so kind of a weak front line for ban for throwing, but that's going to be a lot of damage. I just don't know how Artanis survives against Garrosh here. That's not really a matchup I'd want as Artanis.
I'm just hoping we see Decimate. So the unstoppable that Artanis gets with his swap, Decimate will be able to be reapplied when the unstoppable's done. We could see, I suppose it's possible, but I doubt it, a body check game to counter the Tyrande sustain healing. But
We're seeing 4-man Artanis here, I'd assume, right?
I've got to think it's a 4-man Artanis. I agree, Honey Badger. Decimate's level 20 Deadly Calm is overpowered.
Yeah, I think you're right. Decimate would be very good here. Just because there's a lot of unstoppables from the front line.
All three of ban for throwing have an unstoppable. And the combination of Deadly Calm and Oppressor means that if a Mephisto shades in, you can reduce the damage he does to your team immensely.
Yeah, 40%, isn't it? Something like that.
It's 40% from Deadly Calm, and you have the Oppressor as well. All right, Krizo, go ahead and introduce our blue team of Banned for Throwing.
Our blue team tonight, we have Sheepish Lion on Anub, we have John Lotz on Tyrande, we have Dicello on Leo, Sodium on Artanis, and Shogun on Mephisto.
I tried to get fancy with the spices and it didn't work. Northern Touch, introduce our red team of U.S. Army Esports.
U.S. Army Esports, we have Ace Boogie on Garrosh, we've got that one guy on on Anduin.
We've got a pause.
We got Pro Basket on Vala. We've got Frack on. Oh, I think. Hang on. What is Frack on? That's my bad.
Invisible Mount.
Frack on Sonya, and we have Surefire on Tychus. It was within the first minute.
It was also introduced by the offending team. You cannot do standard or it will ruin your replay file. All right, we are leaving this one.
Quick game 3.
Community moderator Krizo, will you let them know that they need to do a full draft phase for the replay file to properly work on the website?
Yeah, I'm not a community moderator, but I got you.
Fine, I don't know what division you're over. They can do the draft really quickly, but they have to have the draft.
There we go.
Alright, we have launched. Because I typed something that is not going to show up now. Alright, while we're going through this quick draft, this is Friday night under the lights, NGS Division C West. My name is
Friday the
Valcomer.
13th style.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. I am here with Krizo and Northern Touch, both of Gambit Gaming in Division C West. My name is Valcomer. I am with Can't Counterpick Stupid in Division C West. Their bands aren't matching. They're doing everything right except the Cho'Gall ban and their pick order.
They're trying. They're trying. Bless their hearts. They're trying.
Bless their hearts.
Bless their hearts.
I've heard that when you're in the South, you can say anything you want about anybody so long as you add in bless their hearts.
Is that true, Grizzo?
It's very true.
What an ugly baby. Bless their heart.
Bless their heart.
I sure hated their singing in church. Bless their heart. They're banning the wrong characters because they didn't pay attention to how this all works. Bless their hearts.
You learn quickly.
There's a comedian, Henry Cho, who is from Arab, Alabama. And
I know where that's at.
he talks about that idea of what an ugly baby. Bless their heart.
I grew up in southern Alabama, so we don't talk about that though.
What's funny is Arab, Alabama was Arad, Alabama, and then they painted the water tower and the B got flipped around backwards. And so rather than repaint the water tower, they just started calling themselves Arab, Alabama, instead of Arad.
You know how much it costs to paint a water tower?
One letter, bro. It probably costs less than redoing all the forms for the city paperwork, but maybe they just hadn't gotten to that point yet.
Yeah, still to this day.
All right, so game 3 in Friday Night Under the Lights with NGS here. I was not able to have what has become my traditional Friday night casting companion because he's playing tonight, and that's Fracture. And so Crizzo and Northern Touch answered the call and stepped it up, and they are here, and I'm so glad to have both of them.
Well, thanks for letting us cast with you, man.
Yeah, we
did a lot of
appreciate
work casting this season, and
I've not done a lot of work
doing
casting this season. This is my 4th time casting this season.
Well, you're casting your games too, so. Yeah, and for doing all the division scouting stuff, which is pretty cool too.
I know, they let through the Mephisto. It's going to be scary. Both teams coming here to this climactic meeting point between heaven and hell in the center lane. Nobody's dancing, though, or spinning in circles. I don't know what's happening. No, we're not in referee mode, so I can't say, but they don't have to pick the same talents at this point because the other team caused the game to be reset.
Is there any weird talents picked? Stacking Arcanus.
Probably the strangest one is the Lunar Flare on level 1. It's still a great talent, but I don't think you see it picked as much in...
I don't know, that's what I prefer.
So... Wrecking Ball's Unrivaled Strength, which I would say is the beginning of a Decimate build. I'm hopeful.
U.S. Army looks like they might be moving down as 5 here.
Oh yeah, the Sonya coming down already. Frack's ready to kill someone. Oh, waiting for the...
That's scary rotation.
That, if the Mephisto had ink up, they didn't use it, but man. That have scared me. Full mount right next to the bush and then a spear.
Yeah, this would be interesting because especially for Artanis, I don't know how you get safe stacks on this game. I don't think you want to dive into a Tychus.
Yeah,
or a Gyarados.
it's a tough one, but I don't mind the choice of stacking because it's the most team fight oriented. The blocks weren't going to matter with Tychus around, auto attacking so fast. But maybe he could have just gone amateur opponent and taken camps while the Leo double soaked. I'm with you two though. I would have been stoked to see the Deathwing running it back.
I think it would have done a lot of work here.
Yeah, there's a little bit more, I would say a little bit more safe poke, at least this time for the red team. The Vala is actually pretty good at poking down the Deathwing, but just the Shrine Control alone is insane compared to the Artanis.
Yeah. Alright, Sonya and Tychus up here on the camp. We do see the double roots on Anduin. Vault resetting the on the 4 for Vala. Indomitable for Garrosh, which is just amazingly low pick talent.
A 5-man early rotate on the shrine is it's interesting.
It was a good idea on the toss, but I'm surprised they didn't realize that Mephisto had shaded in there. Ooh. A new Brack diving all the way out, but 36 on this. I don't see a world that, yeah, I was going to say that US Army can finish this. A new Brack tossed out, but he's able to dive
Sonya
away.
Caught. But it's a decent possibility that that top camp gets more value here than the actual objective.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Frack just match the Leoric there and not let him get up to clearing, just harass him as best he can. Punisher's down, but half the fort's down.
Oh, Shogun gets tossed.
Yeah, he went for the shade and tossed him as soon as he returned.
2 kills for almost a full tower though.
So red team decides to take bot. I almost want to see them like invade the left easy camp right away instead right here, just because the amount of time that they have.
Yeah, the camps are great, but when you get kills, tear down a structure.
Yeah.
Honey Badger, as a player that just picked up Garrosh last week, I've played him a few times, and I do think that Indomitable is the right pick most of the time, and it seems that the world agrees because it has something like a 90% pick rate. Oh, that shade out was so clutch.
Yeah, that was a beautiful shade.
I mean, I don't think there's any person in NGS that's played Mephisto more consistently than Shogun over the last few years, so he's definitely going to make a lot of high plays on that hero.
I know that I have definitely banned Mephisto against Shogun multiple times. So 10 super close. We do see the Oppressor for Garrosh to be able to use against that Mephisto, so that is 30% spell power reduction. I like the call by Ban for throwing to put some pressure into that bottom fort. It kind of removes the 10 advantage for USAE by just spooking them to go defend that fort. So 10s on both sides. We do see Decimate. I'm pretty sure that that's going to mean it's a win for US Army Esports.
We get a light bomb this time too.
Nice.
Light Bomb is great with the Garrosh for sure.
Oh, it's Wrath. Wrath is really good. I'm not trying to knock on Wrath, but I would have loved to have seen the Leap Light Bomb. Ooh, the Vala follow-up was really good.
Even with the late dig, still manages to get out. And yeah, that's a lot of all
in the Wrath
from both teams.
Yeah, Entomb is still up. Tychus still has Odin. USAE running up to this shrine, 4 seconds till it pops. Ooh, I do not like that Tychus left this minion wave, because this fort will die to it.
That is not ideal. Blue is doing a pretty good job at showing up to this objective early, though.
Mephisto shades in. We see the Tychus Odin. We see the Entomb. The Durance hitting on the Tychus. Garrosh is in there just spinning away. We see the Light Bomb come out after the dig in. Shogun is super low, goes down. Another Decimate. The Vala, that's Tyrande. I have lost track of the Vala. She's back at the shrine. Garrosh running down, but decides to let his prey go. I think that you waste almost as much time backing as you would have dead. You just don't get the experience as the team that would have got the kill. So bottom fort hanging on with 915 health. Sonya going down to report. USAE gets this frozen Punisher. Sorry about the, I don't know a good way to cancel when I checked on that fort health. Ooh, the Indomitable, the toss. There was a root afterwards.
Those are some really good Anduin follow-ups.
Ooh, super low. The Cocoon actually giving Garrosh just that extra bit of protection until the fort got shown off.
Yeah, Nubrak just had to dig right away as soon as he got jumped instead of waiting for it.
I also think he needed to dig in a strange direction, like go up to the vent above the lane, rather than trying to run through the lane, use the natural barriers of the walls. Ooh, bolt the damage, rotate on the Leo and take him out. We do still have that camp from Sonya plunking away at the bottom fort. Ooh, big throw on the Artanis. The shade in from the Mephisto.
Yeah,
Artanis
is
dead. Oh, I don't like the Anubarak dive in there, but the Durance, Anubarak does get the cap. But the spin to win with the Wrath is going ham. Fracture surviving 3v1 at one point there.
Anduin goes down.
So does Mephisto. The shade out with the Wraith Walk. I do think the Leoric gets away, but man, Fracture just living and living with that Whirlwind and Wrath combo.
I gotta say, like, if you're a Nubrak here, you have to be on Sonya, because Sonya's living in the back line in every one of these fights.
Yeah, neither of the bruisers have an interrupt. I assume we'll see Silence and Tomb later, but again, I think Wrath is great, and I think it's actually a fine choice here. Just for the spicy, I liked the leap, but I think Frack just showed right there his knowledge of Sonya and using Wrath to full advantage.
Yeah, as soon as you see the Nubrak dig in, you know you're living for a solid, like, 16 seconds on the back line, so.
Oh, the Durance hits again. The web wrap on the Anduin. The end of the fray, saving the Tychus from any more damage. The aggressive Anduin self-light bomb. Sonya once again living. You can see the Oppressor reducing the damage of that Mephisto.
I feel without Leo being there, there's just not a lot of consistent CC that they're putting out either. They need more consistent CC for that combo to work, or at least to time it better with the healer.
I think 16's gonna bring on some spiciness from BFT.
Yeah. Oh, 16 with Mephisto. So Mephisto's coming online for sure.
Well, so full level lead for USAE. They do have the camp pressure top, the advantage of the fort in mid, and this one is going into bottom. I don't know that there's a good way for BFT to get that bottom fort down, even lower now at 138 health, but
that's a dead Leo for sure.
don't know that there's a great way to save the Artanis. Suppression pulse comes down, but there was just too much damage into him, and Tyrande doesn't have a lot of ways to save other than just raw healing output, and I think if she had stayed to try to save, she would have given her own life also.
U.S. Army's playing the macro pretty good here.
Yep, and putting your Sonya or a Hogger or a Blaze on the point and just going and doing other stuff is a great way to handle the objective when you know you've got a lot of time.
They're still up 16s. Now that switches to where it's even talent here. This camp is fine, but I really would have liked to see them prep bottom a little bit more, remove the ability for bunker BFT to tap, and also just prep that lane even more. But Ban for Throwing seems to be trying to just catch up on lane pressure and experience. We have the Spear Thrower camp in the bottom timed almost perfectly with this objective, and that's just going to add to this push even more. It is a Mortar Punisher.
Is that the typical 16 you want to see out of Mephisto?
Animosity. You know, I would have to ask Shogun Misa. We see the Durance come out.
We got too many tanks and healers on this cast, so.
Yeah. I don't play damage characters.
It doesn't look familiar, that's why I asked.
Oh, and there's Leo's actually going mid instead of coming to the fight right away.
Yeah, this is gonna be bad. Ooh, the whirlwind with the light bomb. The Artanis does get thrown. I would have liked to have seen the 5v5 fight for the side of Ban for Throwing, but the levels and just the faster rotations seem to be continually favoring USAE. If you look up at the top here, it is 11-1 in kills favoring USAE.
Yeah, in terms of sacrifice, I think you could sacrifice that middle wave a little bit and not have a 5v4 versus like wasting your web wrap and then going mid and having 5v4 for against your team. So.
All right, so Ezo in the chat saying the 10% damage for people in the circle is the normal one, not the purple one. So it is still a Lightning Nova talent, but it's the other one. My youngest stole my phone, so I cannot look that up with the HOTS Complete app. Oh, the Mephisto, the shade ends just in time. But look at this big entomb. Everybody stuck in on both sides. Mephisto barely surviving, does finally go down. Garrosh is mighty low. Frack is just full health, spinning. The Anubarak going in for the dive, barely misses, but everyone is still alive for... Oh, Tychus dies finally to, I think, a minion shot, maybe a tower shot, but...
Even with that, US Army's playing this so clean, they look really good here.
Farflight Quiver, Vala's just able to auto-attack completely outside of structure shot range. I like this call to mount up and go mid and just see what you can get with that camp and wave, because I think what you can get is the keep. Maybe, oh, I think USA Army can just keep pushing and win the game.
At this point with the Vala, yeah, definitely.
You're up 20s, you have so much siege damage with the Sonya and the Vala. The Entomb, but it's not a silence Entomb yet. Garrosh tries to throw, but the friendly minion gets in the way.
And here's the point where it'll get slightly sketchy, but the Leo goes down.
Yeah, Tychus respawning now, but he's still all the way across the map. But 60%, Vala just has to stay out of range. 30%, 20%. Mephisto goes down, and that is the series.
GG. Wow.
GG.
All right, we're going to drop back to this for a moment. So a very well played series, I would say, by both teams. The discipline of USAE in both the first and third map, I think, really shined through. The second map, BFT was able to push their will a little bit more, particularly with that massive Entomb flank once they hit 20. And in both game 1 and 3, they weren't able to hit 20, and I think that showed. Looking over the damage numbers here, only 2 people died on the side of U.S. Army Esports, and that was Tychus and Anduin. I think the Anduin was the first one to go down, and the Tychus was there towards the end. Looking over at talents, we did see Deadly Calm, so Ace Boogie here playing what I would call the Decimate build with Seasoned Soldier, Blood Craze, and Oppressor, and that Deadly Calm and Decimate, just making it so that level 20 you get to reduce so much damage, and when Mephisto's shading in like that as the primary damage dealer, it just gets to be super strong.
I would question, especially a Nubrax level 16 with debilitation. There's
Oh,
there's a he actually played it, I think, first map as well. It's not something I'd want to go into like a Vala Tychus Sonya with a debilitation build. I think you want way more consistent stuns, especially what Sonya was doing into their backline.
yeah, I think that the Epicenter would have been much bigger than Debilitation. I actually thought they took Epicenter in game 1 too. I do think Debilitation has some great play, but it's got to be against something where you're going to get additional value. For example, if you were going up against Cho'Gall, you're not getting the additional cooldown reduction, but you are reducing the damage of both Cho and Gall in that scenario. But it's a tough one for sure. All right, I am going to reach out to one Fracture. And see if they are up for an interview. This is a total Valk head trash, but I don't like posting for interview in the division chat because I feel like that spoils it for people who might not have seen the match.
It is a spoiler. I'm glad you feel that way.
So, I suppose I should not have my chat covering up part of the screen. But U.S. Army Esports is the big winner tonight. They will go into the playoffs as 8th seed. Tonight is not one that actually changes the seeding of the playoffs. We've been locked since Tuesday night here in C West, but it was one for bragging rights and for momentum, and I'm sure U.S. Army Esports is glad to have that. Well played by both sides. I do think Banned for Throwing showed some great plays and some great picks. They just weren't able to quite overcome getting to that level 20 and the spikes that came with it. So,
Frack is above us. Should we pull him in?
yep, I didn't see the ping on.
I got him.
We can pull you in, Frack.
Oh, cool.
So.
Congrats.
All right.
Thank you. It was a messy series. We're doing a lot of adjusting right now, having had to switch main tanks, and there's a lot going on for us. But it was a lot less clean than I would have liked. But
You guys played really well.
yeah,
Don't count yourself short.
not to my standards.
Well,
But we won, so I'll take it.
I'm sure you can deliver a report to your commanding officer and he'll tell you lots of things that you can improve upon. But you took the win, so take the compliment.
Thank you.
So you got map pick every time. How does that make you feel? It's your teammate of Honey Badger did say that you always want map pick.
to me, there's nothing more uncomfortable than going to a map you don't play very often with a team that has a plan for it. Like imagine you play a fight maps the whole season, and then someone randomly takes you to Sky Temple, and they have a plan, and you're just like kind of out in the cold, like hoping that some Storm League stuff works. You know, that's why I'm such a big like proponent of map pick. Even though it does let you have like less priority in the draft, and you're kind of forced to ban certain meta picks. I'd rather do that than suffer on a map I'm uncomfortable on.
So you heard it here, folks. If you want to make Frack uncomfortable, and you lost a map or you won map pick, you or coin toss, you take map pick and take him to Sky Temple and run Juice Pirates.
I'll actually report someone. I don't know what the offense would be, but I'll figure it out. I'll report it.
I'm right there with you.
If I get Juice Pirated, I've got to figure out what to report you for. If it comes down to it, I'll just accuse you of hate criming me. I mean, that's just got to be the answer at the end of the day.
So I'm going to bring up a conversation that Frack and I had. This is last year, but Juice Pirates is to the very core of the United States Army, because in the Revolutionary War, the United States Army did not stand in pretty lines with the British forces. Instead, they went around and sacked the fort, going across a frozen river on Christmas, no less. So you can't tell me that the Army wouldn't have done Juice Pirates.
Seems more like a kamikaze strategy to me, personally.
That was a crazy circle back to. Oh man.
But well played. Anything that stood out with you for game one?
Shoot. Let me go back and look at the replays. Mind is blanking. I'm underslept right now with the newborn, but.
Well, I'll tell you, you didn't get to play Greymane, and you did play
not.
Rexar.
I did not. I did get to return to the offlane, which feels good. It's my original home. So I felt comfortable with game one. I think that we had a good team comp. I think that the whole like triple bruiser does work in some situations, but I think that they didn't take bruisers that complement each other. Asma's not technically a bruiser, but kind of has the health pool of one. So I don't know. I think that there wasn't a clear path for them in team fights, other than hoping that Vala could carry. And Ace did a really, really good job on Diablo of catching the Vala out, and we were able to close kills on her between the Misha Bear and Diablo. So I think I was really happy with our comp and our draft for game one.
I was really happy where the aggression just got cranked up to 11 as soon as you hit 20. I would have liked to have seen it at 10 and 13 as well, but as soon as you hit 20, it was just like, nope, we're going to Hellgate in, we're going to combo somebody, we're going to push R on every single hero that we've got, and more of them are going to die than of us.
Definitely. I think, I hope my team's listening to this. I have red screen disease, right? So I am definitely a proponent of like, go over there and kill them now. They stepped on the wrong pixel. Go kill them. They have to die for it.
Well, we did notice that in game 3 as you led the damage with spin to win Sonya.
Definitely. I am a huge fan of playing dive characters in general. So I actually wish I had been able to take Leap that game. But
I commented on that, but man, the Wrath spin works so well.
It's just, in that comp, if I leap, I either get cocooned right afterwards, or they just turn and kill me and I get CC locked. And I didn't want to just like go back there and die when there's an Artanis blind to stop my DPS from following up. So that was kind of why I shifted over to Wrath and was like, hey, we'll just fight front to back and I'll just fight whoever I can reach. And I could reach a lot of people with Sonya spinning around nonstop. So I was happy with the game.
Yeah, that game specifically, I think, like both you had Artanis that wanted to live in your backline, and you wanted to live in their backline, and I think you just stayed in their backline a lot longer, and Artanis was going to have a hard job standing on top of your backline with a Tychus and a Garrosh and that sort of thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, and he didn't take extra shields at 4. He took armor at 4, which Tychus doesn't care about. The Artanis, that is.
Not only that, I think Artanis and Leoric just don't really work very well together. Number one, swap moves people away from like potential entombs or potential like creepy hand from Leoric, and also like neither of them have a ton of like raw kill power on their own. We knew the Artanis was going stack, so we just planned to like fight when we want to kill someone and avoid fights otherwise. Don't give them free stacks, and I think that kind of hurt the Artanis a lot, not getting to fight a ton to get scaled up.
Yeah, I do think that was a tough one for Artanis. I do think you guys played it well, and I think that it definitely came home for you. I was a big fan of Decimate as a long-term Garrosh player. I may have been playing with your teammate of Honey Badger a little bit in chat, not letting on to the fact that I am a well-known Garrosh player. But I've taken the exact build that Boogie took, and I loved the Decimate, I loved the Deadly Calm, I loved the Oppressor, and I thought it matched your team's needs very well. And I was happy to see the Garrosh not be banned and make it out for that third game. But game 2, you guys did run into a little bit of trouble. I think it was they hit 20, and that Silence and Tomb just became a big enough flank threat that it ended up causing enough deaths to let them win the game.
Yeah, but also I think we made a lot of mistakes prior to that. I think knowing the game's on a timer, right? Like when Leoric's locked in, you automatically know the game is on a timer for him to get the silence to him, right? The whole like yes, he's a strong character and he's a good hero, but like his massive team fight impact comes in the form of getting silenced to him at 20. Because Entomb can be escaped from, you can pull people out of it, whatever. And lots of heroes can get out of it. But Silence Tomb is a whole other beast, and it can even kill like tanky people like Johanna. So knowing the game was on a timer, I think that we made too many mistakes in the mid game. Like we had a really, really strong start. I think we were 4 or 5-0 on kills. We had like a half a level to a whole level of advantage of XP. And I think we made mistakes around the Deathwing pick. It's something our team's not used to fighting. And there was a lot of people getting caught in Deathwing queues. And that, like, I mean, the big thing about Deathwing, number one, we had a comp that didn't really counter him very, very well. We did have Tychus, but, like, with a Varian and a Tyrande, you can't really just sit there as Tychus and just shoot at Deathwing. So it was already hard for us to kill Deathwing, and then he's immune to CC, he's blocking our Hanzo ults, and he's got the giant flame breath just tearing our front line apart. So it was a rough kind of comp to play into. It was something uncomfortable that we just didn't have like the best tools for, and I think we made a lot of mistakes on the mid game team fights.
We were hoping here in the broadcast booth to see the Deathwing again in game 3, and Artanis was picked there instead. But
I actually talked about it. I actually thought we should have banned it over Sylvanas, to be honest.
We were surprised you didn't ban Mephisto, but I mean it worked out. You guys played it well. I think we've kind of hinted at game 3 a few times, plus we're getting a little long on the interview here, but what shout outs do you have to wrap up the night? What do you want to let your team know if they come back and watch the last few minutes here?
I'm gonna have to give MVP and shout out to Ace, being our offlaner for the entire season and switching into becoming our main tank. I think he did an amazing job. He's been doing really well in comms. I like his talent builds. He's been playing really, really strong on tank for the 1 week of practice we've gotten to try with it. So I think he did a great job role swapping. I'm back home in the offlane, so obviously that makes me a little happy, but I think we're doing good with the adjustments, and shout out to my team for making it to the match, given especially all the things going on with the army and everything. As always, shout out, I should have said number 1 shout out goes to my team's families, spouses, girlfriends, kids, dogs, family in general, putting up with the time commitments and things like that. Shout out to my wife downstairs with the baby right now. I'm sure I'm in trouble for that, but because it's a Friday instead of Saturday. But I appreciate USAE. I appreciate my teammates. I appreciate you guys casting. It was cool to see a triple cast. That's awesome. Hopefully you guys had fun, and we appreciate the cast.
Yeah, it takes 2 of us to replace you, so.
Exactly.
Thank you. I'm flattered.
Yeah, the Valken frac got interrupted. We had to cast you instead of cast with you.
I know. It's okay. During playoffs, I'll be there for you, Valk.
Well, the hard part is the games for the first week of playoffs are more likely to be played after the bye week, and I will not be in town for that. So.
Oh no.
I will not even be able to report on the playoffs because I will not have cell service.
Shoot. Okay.
So
what you're saying is I don't have to be in garage while you're gone. Okay, got it.
Maybe, I don't know. I've actually only played Garrosh once this season. So.
I understand. Well, I appreciate y'all though, for real. It was a fun night. It was an action-packed night. I feel like we were like fighting their team the entire game, all 3 games. I felt like we were just fighting the whole game. So it's kind of a bloodbath night. Again, there's things we got to clean up, and we're still doing a lot of adjusting with the role swapping. But I think Ace did a really good job, and I'm happy with my team. So we're looking to practice and shape up for playoffs. Hopefully, give everyone a run for their money. We'll see how it goes. See you soon, Crizzo.
We'll be ready, I think.
Round 1 is number 1 seed Gambit Gaming against number 8 seed US Army Esports. So we look forward to that match. Well, Fracture, go and enjoy the night with your team. Enjoy the victory. Let your wife know that at least you won. If you're going to spend time away from the family, you best be winning.
Yeah, true.
So, all right, my friend. Have a great night.
Y'all do the same. Y'all take care. GG.
All right.
Thank you.
Northern Touch, my friend. Tell people how they can find you out there in the interwebs. Thanks so much for being here.
I mean, you can find me on my YouTube channel. You can just search Northern Touch. But generally, just any Gambit Gaming game, you can go watch our games. As you said, we're going to be playing U.S. Army, who we saw tonight. And gave us a lot of things to think about tonight. So those were some nutty games. So it's a fun cast. And I appreciate you having us on, and especially all the work you've done being an analyst for our division this season.
No worries. It's I think it's one of the things that makes it a lot of fun around here. I think C West is the best division, followed closely by maybe C East. And being close is being nice to them. C West is the best. Crizzo, how can people find you out there?
They can find me lurking in other people's streams. I typically co-cast. You won't find me casting alone. Other than that, you can find me in the NGS Discord or in the HOTS realm for sure.
Perfect. Well, thank you, my friends, for my traditional shout out. It is, hi, Mom. If you want to know more about NGS, check out nexusgamingseries.org. If you want to know more about me, Valkymer, you can find me on Discord. I'm the only Valkymer in NGS, and I am one of the admins in the CCS server, or Can't Counterpick Stupid, where my brother runs things, and I'm the loudmouth. But this has been a fantastic Friday night under the lights with NGS. We are going to go ahead and get a raid set up. Look forward for more casts in the future. I gotta type raid properly. Moist Weenus. We're gonna raid one of our board members. Drevel, to answer Dr. Mrs. Dr. Evil's question of why I'm wearing a suit, I actually always wear a shirt and tie for my broadcasts. I feel that is me giving my all to the team that I'm broadcasting. That's part of it. So just like to dress up, I suppose, though I do wear one plenty with work too. Thanks everybody for being here. Go check out Weenus's stream and enjoy the evening. Happy Friday.
Have a good night.
GG's, guys.